Hey guys, this is my GoPro pole. I've gotten some requests from subscribers recently wanting my take on how to build these. I'd never used one before, never built one, so I just figured this out in the last few weeks. This is a acrylic tube or plexiglass. I did the clear for a couple reasons. It'll throw a little bit less shadow, and if you happen to see part of the pole in the shot, it's a little less obtrusive. And thirdly, it looks a little bit more professional than a piece of PVC. This is actually a hollow tube, so this will float. The pole floats, and it will float the GoPro by itself. So what I'm going to do here is show you just a couple quick shots, demonstration video, and then we'll get right into building this. Here's some video that I've taken over the last couple days with this. You guys have probably seen lots of footage shot with GoPros on the end of poles. They're really popular with skiers and surfers and snowboarders. They're great for doing selfies, videos of yourself. And they're excellent for catching angles of other people when you can't quite get the camera in that position. So you can capture some really cool shots with this. But you can buy these commercially, obviously, but you guys know me, I like to build stuff, and this did end up being quite a bit cheaper than some commercial varieties. Okay, so when I build this GoPro gear that I do, I usually have a couple goals in mind, and mainly I want these things to be pretty simple to build, and I want them to be professional looking so you're not embarrassed to use them. So here's the basis for these poles. This is extruded acrylic tubing, otherwise known as plexiglass. These tubes have an outside diameter of 7/8 of an inch, and that's the same as bicycle handlebars, so the grips will fit easily. I bought two different lengths of it, and they both have the same outside diameter, but they have different inside diameters. So the thicker one obviously is a little bit less flexible and stronger, but the thinner one has more air inside, so it floats better. I just wanted to try out two different sizes. They both have their pluses and minuses, but I'm tending to lead towards the thicker tubing. I bought these from eplastics.com. They're the 0.875 outside diameter, and the thick one has a 0.62 inner diameter, and then the thin one has a 0.75 inner diameter. Should be pretty easy to find on there. When you buy these, the minimum order is 6 feet in length, so you'll be able to get at least 2 poles out of it, depending on what length you want to do. So it'd be great to split with a friend. These poles are about 36 inches. This is 36. This is probably 33. I would recommend not going any longer than 36. That ends up being pretty long. This is the one I'm going to build today, just to try a little bit shorter version. The next thing you need are 2 CPVC caps. These are not PVC, they're CPVC. There's a difference. These are 3/4 of an inch, and you really want the kind that have a flat top on them. Some of them are a little bit domed, and that's just not going to work as well for what we want to do. The domed one will probably work, but the flat ones would be a lot better. These are cheap. That's 34 cents, so real inexpensive. From there, you're going to need a 1/4-20 by 1/2 inch bolt. This is the same thread that tripods have. And then you'll need a stainless eye. This will attach to the lanyard at the bottom. These are 2 inches long, but that's way too long. It works, but one about 1 inch long would be fine. If you get these stainless, it'd probably work better in the water, but that doesn't make a huge difference. Then you're going to need a grip, and here's just some examples. These two on the cardboard came from Walmart. Each set, they're about $7, so they're really inexpensive, and again, they do 2 poles. This is a lock-on grip that I have, and this one actually does not fit on the tubing. So I love lock-on grips, but for this project, they may not be the best. For the lanyard, I just use this cheap shoelaces from Walmart. I also use these for my tethers when I have the camera in a situation where it might get lost on the boat or something. For the lanyards on the pole, I just cut down a shoelace. They work real well. Then you need a GoPro tripod adapter, this piece right here. You can buy these online from places like B&H Photo, or you can get them at Best Buy, locally usually, or on eBay from US sellers with free shipping. They're like $2 to $3 each. So I've got about 4 of those coming. So that'll bring the cost down on your project. Here's one of the most important aspects of this project. It's the glue that holds everything together, literally. They're both two-part epoxies that bond with plastic. I used both, and I like the JB Weld better. These are available at Walmart. They're $4 to $5 each. For a couple of reasons, I like the JB Weld. It's a little bit cheaper. It's easier to dispense. The cap works better. Just small reasons, but I like this one a little bit better. Okay, on to the assembly. First thing you want to do is drill holes in these CPVC caps, and you try to get them located as close to center as possible. And those holes are for your eye bolt on one end and the GoPro tripod adapter bolt on the other end. Once you get your holes drilled in the CPVC caps, just thread the eye in and put the nut on so it can't come out. And then you want to take your 1/4-20 bolt and thread it through the top cap. Depending on how long your bolt is, you might want to use some washers underneath the head of the bolt, or even a nut or two. You want the thread sticking out to be enough to catch securely in the tripod adapter, and you want it to bottom out with the base bottoming out on the CPVC cap. You don't want it to bottom out like this, and you also want there to be enough threads in there to be strong. So you might have to adjust that with washers or nuts in there. One of the most difficult parts of the build for me was getting the rubber grip onto the acrylic tube. The rubber really just doesn't want to slide on very far by itself. So what I ended up figuring out is I just coated the tube and the inside of the grip with kitchen soap, and that helps it slide on. Thing is, you have to make sure you get all the soap off of the end of the tube before you adhere the caps on, and also you need to make sure that you get all the moisture out of the tube before you seal it up. Otherwise it's in there and it won't look good. The next step is to adhere the caps onto the tube. I'm going to use the JB Weld and just pull the cap off. And when you press the plunger down, it squirts both sides at once. And just get a good amount in there, roughly 1/4 of the overall volume of the tubes, and mix it together real well. When you squirt it out and mix it, you've got 5 minutes to work with it, so it hardens pretty quickly. Just use a stick and start dumping it in here. It's kind of messy, but you can clean that up later. Just put it all in there. It starts to flow around the bolt and seal it all up. Yeah, you can kind of work it in there. It's self levels kind of. After you get it all in, just make sure you got the sides of the cap coated with it, and get a little paper towel here. Then take the tube and stick it straight down in. Stick it in as far as you can, and then twist the tube just a little bit. That helps seal it, prevent any water from getting in there. So after you put it on here, do not turn the tube upright or sideways. You got to keep it up this way. So stick it in a corner or something and leave it for about 30 minutes. And by that time, it will solidify enough so that it won't run. but it takes about an hour to fully cure. Yeah, and this is what the pole looks like after you get done adhering the caps on. It turned out pretty good. So now you got a threaded stud on here. Make sure and let the adhesive, the epoxy, dry fully before you really crank this on. But take the GoPro adapter, tripod adapter, and screw it on. When you're totally finished with it, you might want to put some Loctite thread locker on there, just a low strength, just to make sure this doesn't come off when you're out in the water or something. Before you do that, I paint the end caps. I painted with the Krylon plastic paint. It bonds to plastic, and that just makes it look a little bit cleaner. So after you've got the GoPro tripod adapter screwed on, you can use the camera without any extensions if you want to. It has a kind of a limited range of motion that way. So a better way to do it is to use two extensions. I've got two short extensions here put together, and this allows you to really move the camera around quite a bit. So this way it lets you shoot selfies, or you can turn around, film out in front of you, or you can flip it sideways and film to the side, different angles like that. So it's really pretty flexible this way. Here's an extra tip that I figured out after using this a couple times. So you can have the camera 90 degrees this way, but in order to do it the other way, these two knobs will hit. So instead of the knob down here, if you substitute a 10-32 by 3/4 inch machine screw or bolt in here, that will allow you to have the camera either way. So while you're doing whatever activity, you can switch it to the other side really easily. If you get these pivot points set up at the correct tension, you don't need to mess with the knobs. You just move it and it will stay in that position. One other interesting thing is that since this is a standard 7/8 inch, just like a bicycle handlebar, a lot of different accessories will fit on there just like a bike. This is GoPro's bike mount, and for instance you could put the remote, the GoPro remote on here, mount it on here like this, use it as a shutter release or whatever. The other thing I was thinking is you could mount a light on here, bike lights, stuff like that. So just some thoughts, but I appreciate you guys watching this one. As always, let me know if you have any questions.